Yesterday, America gave Donald Trump a bloody nose, and watching the right wing trying to cope so hard on social media has me considering putting my hand down my pants to their salty tears rather than checking out some OnlyFans content. Jerkins. What's up, fam of liberty, and everyone else watching this video who's not yet following our channel for some unknown reason? It's your boy Big Sarge, Admin Tim, founder of the social media organization known as Sons of Liberty, which has been steadily pissing off and enraging MAGA fuckface ass clowns since 2015. If you saw us out in the streets at a protest for the first time or you're new to this channel, I know what you might be thinking, despite the fact that I just basically called out MAGA. Let me do it some more. Fuck Donald Trump, fuck MAGA traitors, fuck GOP politicians, fuck limp dick establishment Democrat politicians that are not out in the streets fighting for us every day, and fuck billionaires, leeches, wealth hoarders that have their fucking boots on the neck of just about every American citizen. Neither this channel nor its comment sections are a safe space for you bootlicking simps for a wannabe king, Russian asset, 34-time convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, wish.com fascist oligarch, failed insurrectionist, wannabe authoritarian tyrant, failed businessman who has multiple bankruptcies and failed business ventures, self-confessed lover of very young girls, an admitted sexual predator, and a guy who is best friends for over a decade with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. I'll talk about that in a minute. Plot twist. That's all in reference to the same person, Donald Trump. Now you know where I stand on things, so if you're still here and you're not currently frantically rage typing in my comments box like a triggered conservative snowflake who's ass mad about all the elections that Democrats won last night in a massive blue wave because the majority of the people in this country are waking the fuck up to the MAGA-P incompetence and corruption, then maybe you should consider following this channel after you watch this video and deciding whether or not you like the cut of my jib. I read something yesterday about some official in Kentucky had to tell Kentuckians that no, you cannot vote in the New York City elections, Kentuckians. I decided to lead with this because whilst I am aware that there are a good amount of liberals and smart people in Kentucky, it goes to show that MAGA fuckface ass clowns are dumber than dirt, and despite always fronting on social media talking about how they know the laws and they know the Constitution and how they know how government and this country works, they're still too fucking stupid to figure out how elections actually really work. Before I talk about yesterday's election, I'm going to mention that I have thoroughly read through the transcript of the late Virginia Giuffre's videotaped deposition. I probably pronounced her name wrong. This deposition was taped in 2016 before the Epstein files became a big controversy and a subsequent cover-up. For those that don't know, Virginia was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein from 1999 to 2002, starting when she was a minor-aged child. I'm setting the stage for you because Donald Trump's name is in Virginia's deposition. Donald Trump was associating with Epstein during the time that Virginia was being trafficked by Epstein. Whilst Virginia asserts that she was never trafficked to Trump, she asserts that he had been to Epstein's residences and that there is no way that Trump didn't know what was going on. She also name-dropped Bill Clinton, having met him twice, and asserts that he, too, could not have missed what Epstein was getting up to. She asserts that she was trafficked to a number of different men, one of whom is Trump's attorney, Alan Dershowitz. She also mentions at least 5 different billionaires, some of whom she was trafficked to. Whenever you hear someone mention that she was a young woman, shut it down and remind them that Virginia was an underage girl. In the eyes of the law, she was a minor-aged child. She did not have sex with people. She was trafficked. She was raped. Point blank. Moving on. Yesterday's election cycle across the country was a stunning blue wave, as they say. A thorough repudiation of Trumpism and MAGA fuckface ass clowns and their bullshit. Because of MAGA, we got stuck with DOGE, or douche. DOGE is pronounced douche. Douche gutted a lot of the government agencies, tore through Washington, D.C. like a bunch of vandals, and then stole sensitive personal information on countless numbers of Americans, seemingly vanishing into thin air without any prosecution whatsoever. Because of MAGA, we got stuck with Donald Trump, who infamously got impeached twice in his first term and then led an insurrection when he failed to win in 2020. Because of MAGA, countless veterans are now losing their benefits, and a new generation of warriors getting out of the military after some 20 plus years of global war on terror aren't even going to be able to get their benefits started. Because of MAGA, millions of Americans are losing their SNAP benefits. Because of MAGA, tens of thousands of hardworking American citizens whose skin is much darker than my pasty white Scottish heirs are being harassed daily by ICE Gestapo goons and their collaborator law enforcement agency partners. All cops are bastards. Fuck the police. I said it. Get fucked and die mad about it. Admin Tim 316, bitch. And because of MAGA, the government is currently shut down, so tens of thousands of government workers are furloughed and not doing their job, although some of them are being forced to work with no pay. Donald Trump, who famously said in 2013 that a president who presided over a shutdown should be impeached. Well, here's your reminder that Donald Trump has now presided over the 2 longest government shutdowns in American history. MAGA owns that. Don't give me any of your bullshit about the Democrats. Last night showed that the American people aren't falling for that garbage. If Democrats were responsible for the shutdown, why would the election results be so dramatically skewed blue? You know what else MAGA owns? Airline issues. Last night, an airplane exploded at the airport. The latest in a long line of airline snafus, clusterfucks, go-fucks, near disasters, and outright disasters because this administration, starting with douche, had been fucking with the FAA because Elon Musk wants control of America's air traffic control network, even though pretty much everything that motherfucker touches is busted, broken, and shitty. You know how we got a South African illegal immigrant into the government apparatus? MAGA. Now, I'm repeatedly saying because of MAGA, despite the fact that Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Grinder Johnson, is the architect of the shutdown. But let's not excuse MAGA voter culpability. We're in this because people voted for Trump. I'm also going to level a knife hand at the lefties that couldn't be bothered to vote for Kamala Harris because their purity test results were more important than making sure that Trump lost another election. And if that rustles your jimmies, then just call me Big Sarge the Jimmy Rustler because hashtag not sorry, motherfucker. Y'all some bitches have yeed your last haul at me. MAGA voters who are still loyal to a pedophile, grifter, loser, traitor, failed businessman, con artist, huckster, serial philanderer, and a guy with more grease paint on his face than Tammy Faye motherfucking Baker are absolutely culpable in the destruction of this country. It's not the liberals at fault. It's not the immigrants at fault. It's not the undocumented at fault. It's not the communists. It's not the socialists. It's MAGA. You did this, Becky. You did this. And yesterday, countless millions of Americans headed to the polls to continue the fight to take this country back from the diseased, bigoted fucks who hijacked everything good about this country and have subverted it and perverted it with their hate-filled mentality. And now, to the crowd of fuck your feelings, y'all stayed up late and went to bed upset as spaghetti, and now you're out there having public meltdowns about the massive upset across the country. To the crowd of fuck your feelings, I only have this to say. Ha 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 ha! Fuck your feelings, snowflake bitch. Zohran Mamdani will be the next mayor of New York City, the youngest in more than a century. The Democratic Socialist will also be the city's first Muslim mayor. Abigail Spanberger will be Virginia's first female governor. In New Jersey, Mickey Sherrill, is it Mikey or Mickey? I don't know. Mikey Sherrill cruised to victory in a governor's race that polls had projected would be neck and neck. All 3 of them polled extremely well with males aged 18 to 25. In Cincinnati, Ohio, as Amanda Jane keeps cheering to me about, J.D. Vance's brother was defeated by Aftab Piraval to become the next mayor. Circling back to Virginia, Ghazala Hashmi is the new lieutenant governor-elect. Jay Jones will be the state attorney general. And not to be outdone, but there's now a 60-seat majority in Virginia's House of Delegates. And in California, voters knocked it out of the park. They passed a ballot measure to redraw the state's maps in Democrats' favor, which is likely to yield as many as 5 House seats for the party next year. In Maine, voters overwhelmingly rejected a ballot measure that would have added voting restrictions, such as eliminating some early voting, requiring voter ID, and limiting voting drop boxes to like 1 per town. In Pennsylvania, voters granted new 10-year terms to 3 Democratic justices on the state Supreme Court. In Detroit, Mary Sheffield became the city's first female mayor and the first new mayor in a dozen years. In Georgia, Democrats Alicia Johnson and Peter Hubbard ousted 2 Republican members of Georgia's Utility Board, a statewide commission that hasn't had a Democratic member since 2007. There are a lot of other races that contributed to this blue wave, and I can't name all of them off the top of my head, but Mississippi has its supermajority cracked open big time. Shout out to Democrat Johnny Dupree, who won a state seat in Mississippi in Senate District 45. It wasn't just Mississippi, but also around the country, school boards and Republican districts lost seats to Democrats. It was beautiful to see such thorough repudiation. This was an indictment on the Cankles clown and all the policies that he has implemented. all the policies that he didn't implement, and all the things that he took away to give a bunch of oligarchs a tax cut that they won't use to pay their damned employees a motherfucking living wage. Predictably, as MAGA started losing badly, the internet, particularly that third world shithole Twitter, now populated mostly by bot farm accounts that are run by America's enemies and the angry white American Nazis that we didn't used to tolerate, all of these clowns started gibbering and howling and throwing their shit everywhere. Before results were called, I saw the usual MAGA cope talking about stolen elections and fraudulent elections. Even Stephen Miller tried to make a subtle threat against children of immigrants in New York City, although it fell flat and apparently left people confused what the fuck he was talking about. Once the race for Mamdani was called, one of his opponents, Curtis Sliwa, got on stage and started running his fucking mouth in his concession speech, threatening, I'm not even sure. Watch for yourself.
Let me warn our new leader. If you try to implement socialism, if you try to render our police weak and impotent, if you forsake the people's public safety, we're not only organizing, but we are mobilizing, and we will become the mayor-elect and his supporters' worst enemies, worst nightmare.
Okay, Boomer. MAGA, come get your angry old white boomer. He's talking shit again. Nice raspberry beret. I know I'm going to draw fire for everyone that likes the Guardian Angels. I get it. The problem here is that this sounds like a threat of violence, which is problematic coming from a guy who basically runs a vigilante organization. And on top of that, he's a Republican. And we all know conservatives have a pretty significant track record with political violence, especially in the past decade. Hell, this past year alone. This is a reminder that the fascist fuckfaces have not won. And any of y'all that are feeling alone, you're not alone. We're still in this fucking fight. Enjoy your day watching these clowns clown. Don't rest on these laurels, though. We've got a long way to go to fix shit. So take a knee, drink water, change your socks, and breathe deeply for a little bit. Tomorrow, we're back in this fight because this resounding victory across America has really fucking enraged the Third Reich. And there's still every possibility that they'll try and shut down 2026 midterm elections by doing some dumb shit like declaring martial law or starting a fucking war. One last thing before I call it today. This landslide blue wave victory ought to be a clear fucking signal for the Democratic Party politicians. People like Zohran Mamdani are the future that progressive Americans want. It wasn't just that the alternatives were unpalatable. Zohran Mamdani had a massive turnout. Read the fucking room, Democrats. It's also a signal to Democrats that you motherfuckers better not quit on us. You better not cave on the shutdown. You better not stab Americans in the back by giving in to Republicans. Even bigoted shitbag conspiracy theorists like Margarine Trader Greed are blaming Republicans and Mike Johnson. Stick to your fucking guns on this, because if you don't, if you get weak again, you will not fare well in midterms. And as a reminder, any Democrat politician wanting to get reelected in 2026 needs to be making loud endorsements of impeachment, conviction, and removal of Donald Trump and his traitors in the regime. Period. And fam of liberty, you need to be the ones reminding them of that every single day. Politicians are going to vote for their self-interest, not for you. You don't win freedom and rights just by asking for it. On that note, today in Washington, D.C., we're making congressional visits. You need to be there. If you're within by now, you need to be around D.C., but for future reference, for the 20th through the 22nd, if you live within 10 hours of Washington, D.C., you need to get your ass to Washington, D.C. If you can't make it Thursday, try to be there Friday. If you can't make it Friday, be there Saturday. The Dropkick Murphys are going to be performing along with some other acts, and I'll be there as well. No, I won't be playing with the band Sons of Liberty. But when I was talking about engagement with your politicians, whether they're Republican or Democrat, yesterday and today, D.C., be there. Congressional visits. I know a lot of you can't make it. That's fine. Although there are buses that are being chartered now from Florida and other major cities. There's a Facebook group. There's a Facebook page. Flair has a Discord server that you can get on to figure out ride sharing. Somebody's running a GoFundMe to charter more buses, and that should be expanding to other cities. There are ways for you to get to D.C. if you can't make it because of, transportation reasons. For other reasons that you can't make it, that's fine. We understand. If you're in the fam of liberty, we still need your support. You can support us by being part of our Skywatch teams. That's the nickname that I give to the crisis response team. These people watch our backs when we're doing protests. We have a surveillance network. We have people scouring social media. We have people looking for live camera feeds, just making sure that there's no trouble. You can help there. We also have a get out of jail bail fund war chest. There's a link tree that's listed on the channel description for YouTube. On most of our socials, the link tree is also listed. In this YouTube video, the link tree is listed along with all of our other socials. So you can click the link tree and there's a button there that says contact us. You can email me and ask how you can donate to the war chest. We're going to start soliciting donations now because we've already had a Phantom of Liberty member who was arrested in Chicago at a protest. I'm not going to talk about that yet because we don't know the legal ramifications of what's coming down the pipe, so I can't be running my fucking mouth about it. Anyway, historically, since January, we've been soliciting donations. That's how you can get involved if you're not going to be able to make it, but you still want to support the effort. For those of you that are going, time is running out if you don't have a Sons of Liberty t-shirt. So go ahead and pick you up one and get your order in so that it gets to you before the protests on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of November. That way, we can have a whole ass group of Phantom of Liberty wearing their Sons of Liberty shirts, standing out in the crowd as Big Sarge gives his address on Friday or Saturday or wherever. Be there in DC. We need your support. We need you going into congressional offices and telling these motherfuckers what's what. Demand the release of the Epstein files. Demand impeachment. Demand conviction. Demand removal of this regime. You can voice your concerns about 2026 midterm elections because that's on their bucket list of shit to do too. Because if there's no elections, some of them might get replaced automatically by whatever firing squad apparatus this fucking insane jackass comes up with. That is my time for today. I'm way fucking off topic. Congratulations to everybody who won their races last night. Big Sarge out here. Join or die. 2 claps and a Rick. Woo!
And now it's time for the throw punch!